Hey gang, welcome back to J Daddy's Garage. Today's video is part 6 in the Bronco build series. Now in the last video I worked on the driver's side quarter panel. I put the door back on, I was testing the striker, all that sort of thing, and taking care of some of that work. In this video I want to work on the passenger side, but I have some more test fitting to do. In the previous video I also showed where I worked on the grill and I modified the lower piece that's going to fill the bottom of the grill. And I've had some issues with the way the fenders and the grill meet. Now on the passenger side, there was about an 1/8 of an inch gap on the top of the crown, let's say where the grill and the fender meet. I didn't like that, so I welded it up. I'm test fitting the driver's side as well, and struggling with some of that, believe it or not. So what I want to do is put the fenders back on the vehicle, put the grill up against it, make sure I have what needs to be there, and then continue on. If I need to do some more welding, I'll do it. If I need to do some filler work, I'll do that as well. But that's where I'm at right now. Hopefully I get to some other parts of the vehicle in the process, but that's what I'm working on. So with the fenders in place and the grill loosely bolted on, I can move the fender around a little for adjustment. But if I bring the grill up to the fender, there's a gap right here. I don't know how you can see that. Maybe you can just see the light shining through it. And I was trying to decide which is the problem. Is it the grill or the fender? So I took basically a straight edge and I put it against this flat portion of the fender, and it's pretty flat. I mean, it's relatively close until I come up. Now if I come down here, it kind of gives into it. But if I come up a little higher where the grill makes contact, now I end up with a gap on this side. So it's probably the fender. If I bring the grill up, I'm pretty good all the way across. It's actually really, really close. So, hate to say it, I'm probably going to have to weld onto the front of these fenders to make up for some of that gap, because I can't compress the grill in anymore, and I can't really change the shape of anything else. So other than cutting the fender and bringing that tab forward slightly, the alternative is to weld onto that. So let me think about this just a minute, because one way or the other I'm going to be welding. You see that high point right there. But that's where the grill is making contact. So yeah, same thing on the other side. One way or another, I need to fix that. Here we go. That's what it's going to take. So now what I'll do is clean up that edge, bare the metal, get the welder out, tack that back together, grind it down, be good to go. Okay, so I did both sides, and I'm pretty happy with how that looks. Much better than it was. Still not going to be show truck, you know. I'm going to have some minor variations throughout this, but this is really important to me to have that at the right dimension, let's say, or pretty close to the right dimension. So this is also where I welded up that front edge to try to make it better. There will be some filler on this to dress it out, but I want to point something else out while I'm here. Look at this right here. That's the hole, or the mount hole, that the fender bolt is supposed to go in. It works on this side. This one's just sitting in there, but it works. Come back here and you look, this one's kind of ugly. The hole needs to be moved. This one's in, but it's up against the edge. The bolt itself is like up against the outer edge of the hole. These other ones are okay. You can see where that's at. Back here, hey, guess what? There's no mount bolt. So I need to figure that out. The reason I bring this up, again, is when you're doing this stuff, test fit everything. So if I had not looked at that, and when it came time to actually bolt this together, there's no way you're going to get a bolt in there. The thing is, you can't change the width here. The grill dictates the actual width of the fenders, or the gap between the fenders. And I measured this, and this is like 52 3/4 on this front edge. And of course the hood has a taper to it. But this is 52 3/4. The hood is 52. So that means you end up with 3/8 of an inch gap on both sides, or on either side. So this has to be opened up in order to get a bolt in there. I'm probably going to have to do it through, I'll just keep the hole that's here in the fender and make this hole bigger. This one back here, it fits okay. Everything else seems to be where it's supposed to be. That hole looks, you can see it, that hole looks like it's okay. And I think that one, even though it's kind of offset, it still is close enough to get a bolt in. And same with that one right there. Just some of the details that you have to address at some point. I'd rather do it now than when it's all painted up. Alright, since I've worked on the front end and cleaned up the fenders where they meet the grill, I thought I'd come back and sand down the quarters, or this quarter panel, and that front fender. And what this does is allows me to get a look at the condition of it. So as I mentioned with the other side, there was some problem with the transition from the quarter to the door. So this side isn't as bad, but if you'll look right here, that dark spot, that is a low area. With high metal here and high metal here, this is a dip. And I don't know if it'll show up very well with the straight edge. Yeah, it doesn't really show it up like I hoped it would. Kind of hard to see it. However, that is definitely a low area. That's going to take some filler. Also, you can identify like that. That's an odd high spot. So I may tap that in just a little. Normally you wouldn't see something like that. Same way here. This is kind of a weird anomaly, but I don't think it's going to be a big deal. Come back this area. Same thing here. This is low metal, so I'll add some more filler, or add some filler to try to build that just a little bit and take care of that. You can still see shiny metal there, so I'm not even making contact with that section. So I'll have to hand scuff that and try to build that just a little bit. Otherwise, everything else on the quarter and the extension looks pretty good. I'll probably add some filler down here. Again, this transition's a little strange. So I'm not trying to make this level. I'm just trying to smooth the transition from the quarter into the rocker panel. It's going to be, it's on a curve, it's on a slant, let's say, or an angle. But I just want to make that transition a little bit better. The front fender, things are good overall. After addressing that corner like I did, and I'm sanding off some of that undercoating texture that was oversprayed onto it, things are looking pretty good. One thing I do note is this, and those are tooling marks, and you wouldn't have seen that with just leaving it alone. So by sanding that, I expose all those little ridges. Now, is it worth putting filler on? Probably not. But you can see, you know, there's high, low, high, low, high, low metal all the way through. Now, high build primer will probably take care of that, but keep a mental note of that. When you're working this, you can't sand all that off or you'll expose all that again. So just be careful when you're doing stuff like that. Otherwise, I'm happy with the fender. There's a little bit of that tooling mark right there as well. So I'm going to move on to getting filler in those areas, and then we'll see what else it needs. So while that body filler is curing, I thought I would sand down the grill and get a good look at it. Now, as I mentioned before, there are tooling marks, and going over that with a sander, you could probably see those appear even more after the sanding. So that just shows you some of the stuff that needs to be addressed. I'll add filler to this and try to reshape it a bit and take care of those low spots. Same way up here. This may need a little bit of filler. I can see just a little bit of a transition. On this side, not bad. I did weld on this one, so I will be adding a little filler on that edge. And same thing here. We've got tooling marks. So I'll just add some filler just to help during the primer process so that it doesn't cause a problem. So here's where we're at. After sanding that down, it still has a low spot right there, and you can also see this area right here. I hope you can see the color transition. I'm going to add more filler to that to build it up to get that smooth transition that I want. So add some more there. Back here, I've got some pinholes, so I'll put another coat on this and sand it again. And of course, I have added filler to the grill, and I'm waiting for that to cure. Once that gets cured up, I'll sand it down and repeat the same process. Alright, I think I've reached a stop point for this video. You know, I've shown those same repairs on the other side. I still have the sanding to do on the grill, but that's basically the same kind of stuff, and I don't want to bore you with the same thing over and over. Now, I am getting to a point where I may be stopping the Bronco project. I know that the weather is not helping me at all. I need to have warmer temperatures to spray paint. So with that said, I should be getting, this coming Friday, a 69 428 Cobra Jet car that is going to be a Restomod. The owner doesn't have the original engine or transmission, so he's not going to try to restore it back to a 428 Cobra Jet. It just doesn't make sense for him, and I get that. So that is going to be coming. I need to be doing sheet metal work on that sort of thing, or on that vehicle. So I may be rearranging the shop a bit and making room for that car to come in so I can start doing that. So the Bronco probably get pushed aside until the weather gets better. It's just the way it is. I don't have a big fancy shop where I can, you know, have a lot of heat and airflow all at the same time. It just doesn't work that way for me. So anyway, thank you for being here. Thank you for watching. I especially want to thank my patrons who support me, and I appreciate them so much. And if you're interested in becoming a patron, there are links in the description below. And if you don't want to do that, you can at least click on the Amazon links. Anytime you order something from Amazon going through one of my links, I get a little tiny percentage of that sale. So that helps too. But anyway, that'll be it for this video. And until next time, take care of yourselves. See ya.